Hello, people. How's everybody today? It's Monday. The sun is shining. It's not a bad day. I'm telling you another story. This takes place St. John, New Brunswick, around probably 1960. Summertime. Could have been any day in the summertime, more or less, other than a Sunday. So yeah, so what are we going to do today? Well, you're going to go outside to play, right? You're 9 years old. Got to hang out with the rest of the gangsters, right? So we get outside, meet up. There's 4 or 5 of us. There's always 4 or 5 of us in the gang, right? Yeah, we call it the gang. Anyway, a couple of brothers. They're like 9 and 10. There's me and a couple of other guys. I forget the names, but there's 4 or 5 of us. So we decide to go to the park, right? So we walk up Main Street and we go to the park, somewhere along there. We head to the park. Of course, so then what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to go on the swings and the slide and, the regular afternoon thing. So we're up there, we're on those swings, we're swinging all over the place and see who can swing the highest and stuff like that, right? So then we decide to go on the slide. Now this slide is pretty big. This thing is huge. You stand there, right, when you're 9 years old and you look up the steps to climb up the ladder, you're standing there and you're going like this. And it's got 3 bumps in it, like doom, doom, doom. So it's a long slide. I think it's pretty big. So we're going up the steps, or we're going climbing up. So I get up to the top and there's another kid behind me, right? He's a bigger kid, if you want to call him bigger. He's a little bit bigger, right? So I'm standing up at the top, right? I guess I'm too slow, so he turns around and says, hurry up, get going, So what does he do? He gives me a shove. Yeah, he pushes me off the top of the slide. I go down head first. Lucky I didn't hit my head, but I hit my shoulder right here, right? I kind of went into the ground like this. Yeah. So my friends came around to help me up, and I'm standing there going, oh, I think I broke my arm or something. Something's not right there, right? So we head down back home to my place, and I walk down the street. My dad's across the street on the other side. I go over to him. He's up there painting the cross in the church. He's way up there, right? He's got a rope around him. He's got paint. He's painting the cross. I said, Dad. He goes, yeah, what do you want? Like, what do you want? I said, I think I broke my arm. He says, well, don't go telling me. Go home and tell your mother. So I went, oh, yeah, that's a good idea, right? Yeah. So we head home, my friends, we go home and go and tell my mom. She's in the kitchen. Mom, yeah, I think I broke my arm. So she goes, how'd you do that? So I told her the story. What's his name? Pushed me off the slide. Oh, so anyway, we call a taxi. Mom calls a taxi. We don't ride in taxis often, right? So we get to ride in the taxi to the hospital. Go to the hospital, right? So you're sitting there, you go see a doctor and stuff, and he puts you in this other room, and this nurse is huge, right? She's big too, right? This nurse, she's a big nurse. I remember her. She's big. So she tells me to sit on this stool, the round stool thing. This looked like a stool, but didn't have no back on it, so it was just a stool. So I sat on this stool, and next thing I know, she stands behind me, right? She puts her knee in my back, in my back. She grabs hold of my shoulders, and she goes like this and pulls them back. And I got my arm like this, my arm like this. And then they started wrapping my arm with this gauze stuff and all that, right? Well, this arm, because this was the one that was broke. So I let go of this arm, and I'm sitting there going, I wasn't crying or anything, but it was freaking painful. So I'm sitting there like this, and they're wrapping this stuff around my arm and using the gauze and all this stuff and plaster and everything. So she's now you have to sit there for a while. So I'm sitting there like this, right? Seemed like a long time. So they come in later on, and you go, oh, you're good to go. You gotta, keep your arm like that. Well, where's my arm gonna go, right? So for the summer, 1960, I walked around like this. Of course, I got my cast signed by all my gangster buddies, right? So we leave the hospital, right? But we didn't go home right away. We went across the street and went to Woolco's. I think it was Woolworths or Woolco's. My mom went in there and picked up a couple things. And she bought me a little bag of toy cars. They were in a bag. I think they were like 98 cents. You got like 100 little plastic cars. They're only about an inch like this, right? Inch, right? And they, you know, like different kind of cars. Yellow ones, red ones, green ones, all these little cars. So we got a bus to go home. We didn't have to take a taxi home. We took a bus, right? So on the bus, I'm sitting there on the floor, kneeling on the floor, you know, because the bus had those long side seats. You know, when you first walk in, Mom sat there and I was sitting on the floor and my cars are on the chair, right? Kind of like me playing with the little cars and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a good memory. Good day down in St. John, New Brunswick. Yeah, I broke my arm because somebody pushed me off the slide. Yeah, all summer, walking around with a cast on your, yeah, so yeah, that was the summer of 1960. Give it a day, pick a day, anytime in the summer, you know, you're not going to school, so we out with the rest of the guys, doing whatever, being gangsters and stuff, and anyway, I ended up with a broken collarbone. Yeah, all summer. All right, talk to you later.